Let's get into the first email of the day. And the first email today comes to us from Apharm, who writes, greetings from Indonesia, from an Indonesian fan, John. Well, thank you so much, Apharm. I just saw news in Variety about future Avenger movie will be on the Disney new streaming service along with other MCU properties such as Captain Marvel. Does this mean that Phase 4, Kevin Feige commented, might be all for this new streaming service instead of theatrical release? What are your thoughts? All right, thanks a lot for the email, Apharm. And so, yeah, look, future MCU movies are not going to be going on to Netflix. The future MCU movies, once they're done the theatrical runs, they're going to go onto the Disney streaming service. We've already seen Disney starting the process of moving all the stuff off of other services. They're going to be moving it onto the Disney streaming service. We know that. But what he's asking, and what I've heard a number of people asking me is, what's the possibility that Disney's new strategy is going to be not even making movies for the movie theaters anymore? Just making their movies, particularly the MCU movies, and put them straight onto their new streaming service. I mean, look, just yesterday we talked about the new report that came out from Variety talking about how Loki is going to get a standalone short limited series. Scarlet Witch is going to get her own short limited series, all on the new Disney streaming service with Elizabeth Olsen, with Tom Hiddleston playing the roles, and other Marvel characters as well. So, hey, a lot of people are asking, what do you think? What do you think the chances are that their whole plan is to move it all just onto the Disney streaming service? To that, I'd say almost zero. Now, we already know Disney is going to make some standalone movies specifically for the streaming service. For instance, we got a Lady and the Tramp movie coming that's being produced and made, a live-action Lady and the Tramp that is specifically being produced for the Disney streaming channel. However, the economics just don't make sense to stop putting out your MCU films in the theater and put them just onto your streaming service. Here's something for us to chew on, okay? Here's an interesting little fact. Let's look at Netflix. For 2018, Netflix has about 130 million subscribers. That is huge. Disney's going to take them a while to get up to that. And the number of titles they have on their service right now of movies, TV shows, documentaries, etc., is around 15,000 movies, TV show episodes, and documentaries. Around 15,000 items of content that they have on there. And their projected 2018 revenue is around $15 billion. Roughly about $15 billion is what they're going to generate this year. Now, by comparison, let's look at Disney for just 2018. Disney's revenue, not for 15,000 pieces of content, but for just 6 movies that they've put out in theaters, is $5.6 billion on just 6 movies they put out in theaters. And by the way, $4 billion of that is just from 3 of them. I mean, if you just count Infinity War, Black Panther, and Ant-Man, you've already got $4 billion right there. And then, of course, you got The Incredibles 2. You got Solo, it's made about $400 million. You got A Wrinkle in Time, which flopped, but still brought in a couple $100 million. So from just 6 movies, they made $5.6 billion in revenue. $5.6 billion in revenue just from 6 films in theaters. Would those 6 original films have generated $5.6 billion in revenue if they had just put on their streaming service? No. Nowhere near. Netflix has been a company that has grown and matured and grown and grown and grown and developed and matured and grown and grown and grown. Now they got over 15,000 pieces of content on there that they have built over years up to 130 million subscribers. And they do put out some original films and stuff like that. Yes, they do. But an interesting study showed recently that like 70% of the Netflix traffic is not watching Netflix original movies. It's not even watching Netflix original shows. It's watching curated shows from other networks that are just on Netflix. That accounts for about 70% of the traffic on Netflix. Disney knows that the real money on a bang for your buck basis is in the movie theaters. That's where you make your real money, is in your movie theaters. They know that. But they're going to have the best of both worlds because they're going to put their movies in theaters, make billions of dollars, and then they're going to, when they're done in theaters and it's been sitting around for a while, then they're going to take those movies and put them on their streaming service so people can subscribe to the streaming service and go watch them again there. They're going to get the best of both worlds. This is a scenario where it's not an either or. It's not like Disney has to decide, are we going to put it in theaters or are we going to have it on the streaming service? It's going to be a both and. We put it in theaters, and then later on, we put it on the streaming service, and we get to eat our cake and have it too. Have your cake and eat it too. I messed that up. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. So again, it's not an either or, it's a both and. But they know that the real money is to be made by putting their films in theaters. And for the foreseeable future, that's the way that's going to go. All right, let's move on to topic number 2.